Hello everyone and welcome back to the Underground Cave. I am Geltip and this is Mini Painting with Geltip. Tonight we're going to be continuing on with this guy. Tonight is the replacement Thursday night paint along because I will not be streaming this Thursday, so don't look for me this Thursday. But we'll be back next Tuesday to keep working on the pirate for Captain Con, and we'll finish up our rat. Hopefully we'll finish up the last day of November, but I'll give you all of the information so you can finish up your rat. And then just to let everybody know, I will not be streaming in December for holiday reasons, just getting things ready and winterized. But look for me on Instagram, look for me on dual streams. If we do dual streams, I'm also available on Discord. So I'll be around in December, just I won't be streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then there's some talk, or there's some schedule changes that are in the flux for the next year, 2024. So just keep watching for the Discord if you're not joined to Discord for that. I may be changing days of when I stream and times. So just keep looking out. But if you have all of your stuff, if you have your paints and you have your brushes and you have your miniature ready, let's continue on with the BugBear rat, the giant rat, and let's just paint. All right. So we need some music here. I'll get you some music and we'll just get right into this. I have no other announcements since it's the end of another season. I hope everybody is doing well. We still have about a month and a half of this season to go. But for me, this will be the last month and I'm feeling a little nostalgic. So let's get some VHS going. There we go. All right. I'm just going to go through and let you know what we're using for paints. If you haven't been in the Discord before, or you haven't seen what we're doing here, we are working on this guy all month long. So if you are been painting along or watching the videos, the second part of this is up and is getting posted on YouTube. So once we're all done with the whole series, I will make sure that I post all of those in the Discord so that you can, once you get your rat miniature, you can paint along through my YouTube page. Now today I want to start working a little bit more on the pinky flesh stuff. We're going to work a little bit more on highlighting the fur because I want to get that. I don't want him to be gray, I want him to be white. So, or ivory, I should say. So we're going to pull that up to white, get his hands painted up, his belt, and see where we can go before we leave him for the last Thursday. Again, like I said, this piece is fantastic. I love this piece. It's got everything. It's got cloth, leather, armor, wood, fur, you name it, it's in here. So we're gonna I haven't done anything off stream. I didn't do any of the edge highlighting like I wanted to. I didn't finish this rope here, so if we have a chance to do that, we will do that. But there's other parts of the miniature that I want to start working on so that if we don't get a chance to finish them during the month, you'll have that information to keep going with yours. Let me go through the paint palette that we were using. Thank you for that lurk, Demon Speed. Hopefully you're painting along with us, whether you're doing the same miniature or not. So I'll just start off with the Monument Hobby paints that I have. We were using some mahogany, and then we were also using some burnt sienna, which is an orangey brown, so a red brown, orangey brown, and we're going to kind of mix in a little bit of yellow ochre to that. So red, orange, yellow. They're all on the muted brown side. And the final Monument Hobby that we're using is just a dark silver. So those are our four Monument Hobby paints that I'll be using. Hopefully you'll have your own red, brown, orange, brown, yellow, brown, and dark silver, whatever paints that you use. Just going into my ivory, that's Vallejo's model color ivory, and this is pretty much the same as any ivory you want to use. Also, my other oddball is the Citadel McCrag Blue, which we haven't added in yet, but we will start adding that in just a little bit. I'll figure out where to add that soon. And as far as Reaper goes, just to explain a little bit, our solid black and our solid white, 09478 and 09479. Any white, any black will do. Then we're using Wilderness Green, 09411. Using a little deep red, 09002. And a little bit light silver, which in this case is polished silver, 09054. I'm not sure if, let's see, so we got 11 colors here. This is what we wanted, right? I don't think there's anything else we're using. So I'll put those there so I know where they are. And we'll get back to this. I want to start working on the pink flesh here. So I think, if I remember correctly, it was 2 ivories and, or excuse me, 2 reds and an ivory. I could be wrong. We're gonna try it. No, it's a deep red, so it would have to be 2 ivories because it's a deep red. So let's get in there, and I'm gonna clean out one of these palettes. So this is a foam paint well, and what's nice is that you can pop out the colors, and then then we're just going to take some water, and I'm just going to kind of dig around a little bit just to get those little dried flecks out of there. I'm not washing it, it's already dry, I already pulled it, and if you use a little bit of wet, you'll get some of those flecks out. So I'm going to go right in there with that. If I decide I'm going to use this for more colors, let me just get out the other sides to this. I'm not going to be using this for everything, but that pink is something I'm going to need to start using more of. So if I put it on the palette, it'll become too thin. So what I want to do is I want to make enough of it so that I can keep using it. And we're going to lighten it up, and we're going to darken it down. Well, we don't have to darken it down because we have the red there. So I'm just kind of cleaning this out a little bit. One of these days, I'm just going to come online and you can see all this stuff that I do just to prep for a stream. So this is usually one thing I do, but I didn't do it today. Getting stuff done for work because I'm off for the rest of the week. All right. Make sure we get, no. So you don't want to get any dry flecks of paint in your mixture. All right, we're gonna put this right there. Keep that out of my way. Okay, so I've got my 3 wells here. I tried cleaning out this green well. We'll see. Maybe I'll get to some green later. All right. So as always, we're going to start with the deep red. Let me mix that up, just shake that up. We're going to start with 1 deep red, and I believe it was 2 ivories we used. So there's the drop of deep red. Get a couple drops of the ivory. 1, 2. Now, gonna test this out first because I'm gonna add another mixture to that. So I'm just gonna add 1 drop of water to mix it all up. Hey, Drago Banco, how's it going? Whoops, I didn't want to use the bristles on that. What's going on? If the music is too loud, please let me know. I will take that down a notch. So you want to make enough of this. So that's the color I have. We're going to go in and we're going to do that one more time. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday? Are you hobbying, you watching, relaxing, getting ready for your week? Again, it's one, what do they call it? Drop, dollop, one dollop of deep red, 2 ivories, 1, 2, there you go. Make sure we get a little bit of water in there. This is just water. This is nothing else but water. I just put water in a dropper bottle so I can actually add a drop. Take the brush and we'll mix it all over again. Should be the same color, but now we just made more. So the nice thing about these paint-alongs that we do is it forces me to actually remember recipes, which I never do, and that's a bad thing. I should remember recipes so when we come back to things, I can redo it. So as you can see, there's a lot of unfinished or splotchiness going on here. Hey, Demon Speed, what's up? So I'm gonna repaint that really quick. Just gonna take any old brush, doesn't have to have a nice point to it, and I'm gonna just kind of repaint over this because I want to be able to get into some of these recesses. So I want to make sure I have a good, even acrylic layer so that when I do glazes or I do if I start doing the cuts on his tail, that acrylic layer is gonna go nice. It's gonna look lighter than it did before because there's already pink on here, but also this is wet, so it will dry darker. So we're just going to go in and make sure that acrylic layer, now yours, if you're painting along, might be very smooth, and that's great. I may have picked a small brush for this, so I may get a bigger brush for the bigger surface here. I'm just want to make sure I get where I need to. I'm out on a planned shopping trip to get some hobby supplies and also pick up a couple sets of copyright-friendly Battletech themed dice from Baron of Dice that I ordered from through one of the local game stores. Nice, awesome. Well, don't. Hopefully you're not driving while you talk to me. Hopefully you're in the store getting your stuff, and if you're maybe you're walking to the store, I have no idea. Just stay safe out there. But that's awesome. Hobby supplies is always fun to have. You can never have too many. Alright, I need to move this because I keep putting it in not the water. No, on the bus we have a robust public transport system. Sweet. Very sweet. Alright. So when this originally went on, I think it was going over gray, a gray acrylic layer. So it's brightening up just a little bit, which is great because that's kind of what you want. And it just solidifies the acrylic layers. So I just need to make sure I'm on stream. See, there we go. Need to be better about being on stream. Now what I'm doing right now is probably not the best because I'm having a hard issue getting to this spot. So I may want to just turn it this way so I have an easier time getting to that spot. But there's nothing here that we painted so far, so outside of the metallic, which will easily cover the pink. So this is probably going to be the hardest thing I do on stream, is to get this into a position where you guys can see what I'm doing, because I have to hold the miniature in a way that is comfortable for me to paint it. And if you're contorting your painting hand to paint something, then you have more chance to make the mistake. So always turn the miniature into a position that you always have. I mean, if you paint like this, then that's the way your miniature has to let your hand flow. And if you paint like this, that's the way your miniature has to be rotated, so that you're constantly getting the best hand stroke that you can get. I made the leap today, and I ordered 3D resin printer. Really? Which one did you order? That seems to be fun. Did you now? Is it a small one? Is it a big one? Like, what's the plate size, if you know? And then I'll just do the top here. I'll get a bigger brush to get the bigger parts, but we'll stay with this small one just so that I can get these smaller areas. See, and I'm just painting downward towards me so that I can get that best even layer. Because if I'm painting to the way that the model is positioned, there's more mistake going on there. So I'll get a bigger brush for that. Let's get his feet back. And I think, if I remember correctly, we had this pretty thin on the wet palette, so that's probably why it's also darker, going over that gray acrylic layer. There we go. Let's see, Elegoo Saturn 2, 8K 10-inch, also got a washer and a UV curing station. Oh, those are fun. I don't have one of those. I just have a plastic pickle jar with, and I just shake it to get the clean prints. I don't have the washer, so you'll have to let me know how that washer works out after the prints go. Also, might want an air purifier depending on where you are doing your resin printing. That's true. Yeah, I just got the little 4K one that it's that washable resin from Frozen, I think it is. So it gives out a low odor, but yeah, I would concur. You should have some sort of exhaust system or some way of venting. All right, we're gonna do those ears a little bit. And I don't want to go too far into the ear that's nice and dark, and I don't want to go too far down because that looks like some fur. So I'm just going to kind of hit right there with that ear, because we're going to make that a little bit of fur. And then this one over here we'll hit. And again, I don't want to get inside the ear. I want that to be nice and dark. That gives me my little contrast of the ear. But I will do the outside. And don't try to force the issue. If you can't reach it, you can't reach it. If you can't reach it, nobody's probably gonna see it. Miniature painting is all about the distraction. Keep them distracted. So if you miss painting something, keep your eye away from it. I think I'll get this a little bit more on here. Like so. There we go. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Okay. And we'll get a little bit more of his little snout. And just above his nose is some more hair, so be careful that you don't paint over that. Again, this isn't our lightest color. We are going to lighten this up more, but we want to get a good kind of base for that. There we go. Now we'll get a little bit down here on his lips. Just that little line. There we go. Alright, so that takes care of his feet. And we'll get some more of that tail. And you can already see it's starting to darken up just a little bit. So we'll get a nice big brush here. Yeah, the Saturn II has a section built into the hood for a fan too, so maybe I'll be able to duck it all out. Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna be happy with the 3D printer. You do a lot of painting of the 3D print, so we'll and what's nice is that you don't have to, if you break them or you get misprints. I get misprints. I was getting misprints a lot of the time when I started. But the one thing I noticed is that when I did a paint along in the summer, early in the summer, it was all about statues. And if you get a misprint, you can turn it into a statue for terrain purposes. You use it for terrain. So I try to keep as much as I can for the misprints. A lot of it probably can't be used, but you can use it as basing material. I mean, there's always a little bit of waste because of the supports and stuff, but when you fail a print, it's like it's the most horrible feeling that I encounter, but then I've learned that I can actually save those misprints to make terrain pieces with. All right, so that takes care of that. That takes care of the pink right now. I mean, we're not done with it by any means, but we have to let it dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of black and white. And I'm going to do this on the wet palette, so you can direct your eyes to the wet palette. And I just need to move some stuff out of my way so I don't spill anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do, I'm going to do 1 dollop of black, 2 dollops of white. So I'm going to get a nice bright gray. We're going to cut into that with some ivory, because overall we want a little bit of ivory. And with our yellow, we want a smidge. We don't want a lot of yellow. We're not turning this yellow. We just want a smidge. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to mix it right in. I'm going to put it on the outside right there. And I will add in little bits of yellow until I see a nice kind of warmed up yellow. And we're going to take a nice mixing brush. This looks like a good mixing brush. We're going to wet those bristles. And the last thing we're going to do, we're going to take some water out of our little dropper bottle, stick it right in the middle, mix it all up. Because water acts as a nice mixing reagent. So we're just going to mix all that up. What the ivory is going to do is it's going to warm up the gray a little bit. Might need another gray or another ivory in there. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow here, stick that in. It's going to kind of turn it on more on the greener side. Alright, that looks good. It's a big, nice, wet blob that's going to dry out on me if I don't use it. Grab a little bit of ivory on the side here. And I want some of this gray, and keep some of this gray. And I'm going to add a little bit of ivory to this, little stages, because eventually what I want is the shadow color of the ivory. So you're going to want a nice bright gray to start off with. And again, another little bit of yellow in this. See how it turns it very yellow? Add more ivory. Should end up with a nice bright warm gray. It's not a steely gray, but it should look kind of... I'm going to add a little more water to that just to mix it all up. There's a lot of paint in here, that's why. Alright. We'll try that out. So, if you're having a recipe at home, if your mind's around the recipe, I probably put like 5 ivories in here with a little bit of yellow and all of that neutral gray. And so I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to paint the whole hand with this color. The hand is not going to have fur on it, so I'm going to just paint. There we go. So it should still kind of look gray, because when we get in with the ivory, this gray will act as a shadow color. Just be careful you don't hit the wood. And we're only painting the hand because we're waiting for that tail to dry. And by doing this hand, once we get it to that ivory stage, you'll see where you want the fur to go. Right now the fur is looking a little gray, so we want it to match. Our hands as much as possible. And what this does is gives a little separation to that wood, keeping the darkness of that wood. So now this becomes the brighter color over here. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I'll have to... See? I ain't following my own rules. I tried to put a brush where it didn't go. I meant to do that so you could see what happens when you don't follow the instructions. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. just got to find out where the best angle is. Make sure you get all of that hand. Loot Studios has a Black Friday deal now too, so I got the sci-fi and fantasy bundles and several other things, so I have plenty to play with and to paint. That's awesome. Yeah, I hear that a lot of the 3D sculptors are doing a Black Friday sale now. So that's good. But what's Brother Humbler John gonna do since he can't? He's the one that prints for you, right? Are you throwing him out of business now? Maybe it's not him that's painting for you or printing for you. Maybe I have the names wrong. So is that your Tuesday now, looking at STL files, figuring out what you're gonna buy, or do you not have the printer yet to know what you want to do? All right. And I'm also going to do just under that pink of the jaw here. There's no fur on this jaw, so we're just going to do that with this. We're going to make that ivory as well. I'm leaving a little dark line around the lip, though, just to show some texture. There we go. All right. So we're just gonna fix this up here. Get that to be nice and all right. And once we get the ivory on there, then that will act as our shadow color. Hey, antifreeze, what's going on? I was looking into some other air compressors, ones that have regulators to them. So you'll be happy to know that. All right. We're gonna bring back our pink color here. So, yeah, I was also reading online, I can actually put a regulator on the one I have now, but it seems like it's an awful lot of work, and I need a bunch of things that, like, I need some plumber's tape and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how that goes. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of this pink that we were using for the skin for the tail, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a little bit of deep red to that. So you almost want a 50-50 mix. If you're on the lighter side of the pink, you want to be you don't want it to be deep red. You don't want it to be super contrasty. So if you want it to be just slightly darker than the pink that you have. And don't forget to add your water. Water is a nice way of mixing colors together. That looks good. I like that. And before we do anything, I'm just going to go in and actually do all the scratches and the cuts. So wherever you see like those little marks, those little dings. Now if you look at it, see how this cut has a light edge down below and it has a darker edge like right towards the top. That's how you kind of make your cuts happen. So if that means that your light is coming from this direction. You always highlight opposite on your scratch. But just to show off where that is, I'm going to take a thin brush and I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to make a little line in that gash. I'm not doing any highlighting. I'm not doing any shading right now. I'm just making these lines happen. That way I know where these cuts are. See, so there's a little X there. How's your Tuesday, Antifreeze? And then I'll do all these little wrinkles here the same way. The darker we make these, then when we start glazing in our colors, if it's a darker color, these will act darker. So I'm just getting those in there now so that when we do all of our other stuff, kind of keeps the texture going. So you just have to kind of find out where these lines are and keep going. And we're going to do the same thing in between the toes of the feet. This can also be our shade color for some areas. Whoops. Oh, it's just a little too large. So I'll do around the ankles here. Come on. Where's my point? There's my point. There we go. Right in these little toes. And if I want to go darker, I can go darker. But I think you can start to see some of the texture in the tail without the highlighting going on yet. And we just have to wait for it to dry. It'll dry darker. It's going well. Excellent. That's like what we want to hear, right? Got to meet Antifreeze over at ReaperCon this year, which was great. We got to talk about air compressors and airbrushing and how I need to start incorporating the airbrush more into my repertoire of things. But we also found out that I don't airbrush because I don't have a good air compressor, as I thought I did. I mean, it works. I can prime with it. But I can't do, like, I can't get zero in on the miniature and spray what I want. All right. And I think the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color. I'm going to do a nice little, not fat, but I'm just going to kind of go around the tail here. And this, I don't care if it casts a shade because it's behind him. And it's not going to see a lot of light. But I want to make sure that I separate the tail from the fur that we're going to put on here. So I'm just going to kind of go around. And then eventually we can figure out how to shade that down the road. All right, there we go. I'll go right inside the ears here. I just had to buy some new painting stuff. Oh, really? What'd you buy? Right in the ear. Do the same thing on this one. And then I'm going to go around the fur, like so. I'm going to go right around here and then over the nose area. Trying to stay next to the hair and the nose area. I don't want to go on that nice circular, but what I will do is do underneath the nose. Like so. Give it a little bit of shading there. Just seeing if it's possible to get underneath the pink and in between the ivory. Probably not. That's alright. I was missing some colors from my ReaperCon project. I know, I had to get some too for Jeff Davis's paint along that he does on Sundays. So I just got some as well. ReaperCon is really good. I have so many though that I have to kind of keep using them. Alright, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of this pink here. And I'll put it in this dollop right here. So I'm just going to take a good generous portion of this. So maybe four of these brushes, and I'm going to do one of the ivories. I guess I want to lighten this up just a bit. So there's a difference between dry brushing, sketching a highlight in to glaze afterward, or layering a highlight. If you're gonna layer highlights, you gotta start small. Now, I'm gonna put this paint on. It's not going to do any, you're not gonna see any changes here because it's just a small amount of ivory to this. And as you do it, I'm just gonna keep painting a little bit smaller areas. But right now, all I'm gonna do is just paint as much of the highlight as I can see. And I'm gonna stay in the middle of the tail. But what I'm not going to do is paint under the tail, because that is not where, it's not where the highlight's coming. So I'm just going to kind of paint. Again, it should just be almost the same pink you were using, but this is the place where you can actually kind of clean up any strokes that went off the rails, as long as you stay on the top and in the middle, because we don't want to get rid of all of the first coat we did. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of layer up the tail, and then we'll glaze it down afterward. So I'm just going to kind of hit certain, I'm not worried about the cuts, highlighting the cuts yet. I just want to make sure I have a nice small little highlight. You can make these I might have made these a little too thick, so I'm just going to kind of bring them back in a little bit. And we'll do this here. Staying in the middle and not going underneath. That's the key here. I'm going to submit a diorama for the MSP Open. Oh, I can't wait to see it. Unfortunately, I will not be there this year. There are prior commitments going on. I hope that they keep ReaperCon in August for a Labor Day weekend. I hope they keep the same venue. I haven't heard anything. Maybe somebody else has. But one can only hope. So I'm just gonna get some pieces done for the following year. I have a couple plans, but I really have to focus on doing one. I didn't do that this past year, and it kind of shows a little bit. So I want to make sure that when I do it, I can give a focus onto one mini. So we'll see what we have. I have a couple ideas. I might go back to my original idea and tweak it, but I can't wait to see what your diorama brings in. Yeah, I have a wedding to go to, which, you know, it's cool. I'm so glad I get to go to a family event. You know, it sucks that it's on that weekend, but you know, it's not my call. It's not my choice. So I will have fun wherever I am, wherever I go, and I'll be thinking of you guys. So good luck in the competition. I think next year is going to be a nice, relaxing year. I'm just going to do some streaming. I'm not going to worry about any competitions next year. I mean, I'm going to worry about them, but I'm not entering into anything. I'm just going to get things ready for the next couple. Clean up that area. And we clean up this area. So again, a little bit of ivory in here. I'm being a little bit more generous where I apply this, because when we apply the next ivory into that same mixture, you have to even tighten up your spots where you're going to paint. So here I'm just kind of now, before I go any farther, I got to do the feet, but the feet doesn't take a large brush, so we're going to do the feet using this brush. Yeah, it's impressive that you remembered I had a wedding. Coaching isn't cheap. It will be my year-long project. I'm getting Rainer for coaching. Nice! Yep. I'm at that stage too where I'm gonna have to start pinging somebody to look at my stuff so that they can tell me what I'm doing or what I need to, because when you're in a piece you can't really tell what you're missing. Now with this, I'm actually going to just stay on the top here, and I'm gonna let the kind of highlight naturally make a shadow. Because it goes inward a little bit, so I want to stay more on the top, and then I'm just going to kind of make it a shadow back there, so I'm not even going to touch that, because that's where you want the shadow to be. Coaching isn't cheap. No, it's not. It is absolutely not cheap. And I know that people said, oh, you should do it now so that you don't get into a bad habit. But all my bad habits are really just I'm just a technical painter. Like I don't like when somebody tells me, oh, you should be painting your light this way, or you should be shadowing this way. I think I can do it because I don't look at like all I do is just look at like, do I know how to glaze? Do I know how to dry brush? Do I know how to layer? And I think I do. I hope I do, or else this is all a failed experiment. But when it comes to dynamicness and stuff like that, I just have a hard time because I don't see it. I do what I think looks cool, but I think if I do something different, I might be able to grab non-metallic metals and OSL a little easier. So that's what I need to watch people do a lot more of. I mean, I know the theories of it, I just need to actually apply it, and I don't apply it. All right. Bookend Kitties, what's going on? How are you? We started the planning phase for it already. Awesome. Well, I like to be surprised. I mean, if you want to talk about the project, you are more than welcome to, but I'm not going to ask for specifics, since if you want it to be a surprise, we can let it be a surprise. What's going on, Bookend Kitties? I haven't seen you on in a while. I got the job I was doing as a temp to be permanent. All right. Woohoo! All right, let's give some shout outs here. I got some people in to paint along. And we will do this. Let's see. Let's give a quick shout out to Demon Speed. Boom. Let's give a quick shout out to Drago Banco. Give a shout out to Antifreeze. All these people are amazing people. I've met them in real life, or I've seen them streaming, and they're fantastic artists. So please give everybody a follow. And those that don't stream, maybe we can irk them to do at least one. And if I missed anybody, please call yourself out so I can do it. All right, so we're doing this BugBear rat. We just did all of our highlight here. You can see how things are starting to wash out, but that dark pink has kind of become darker because we've highlighted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more of that ivory. So grab the mixing brush and some water. This time I'll put 2 waters in because there's a lot of paint in there. And I'm going to take this ivory and we're going to mix it around again. So we've made this a little bit lighter. Add a little bit more water to it so it's not so heavy. We're going to be a lot more controlled with this one because it's got more ivory in it. It's still on the pink side, which is fine. And we're going to take this light paint and we're going to go even tighter in these areas. So just to show you, if the light is hitting here in this area, I'm just going to kind of follow where that light is. So see, this light probably comes around somewhere like this. And then I will just pull this down and pull it up. And we have to let this dry now. Continuing on up, we'll go up this path. So here's the thing. I'll just give you a quick, simple, basic lighting of a object called a cylinder. So a cylinder has a line. So if I look at the highlight of a cylinder, like if I look at the highlight here, it's a line. But if I twist it into an S, that line stays there, but that line stays as an S. So when I take this tail, it's a cylinder, and so if this is my line, it's going to go all the way up like the S. So that's how you figure out where you put your little highlight. So if you have a tube for a sci-fi guy, or if you have a snake, or if you have a curvy sword, just remember it's still going to be a cylinder, but it follows the flow. I'll do the same thing over here. This doesn't get too much of a highlight, but I'll kind of stay in the highlight realm because it does jet out over here. And notice that I'm not doing all of the tail. I'm just picking my spots where I want to highlight now. So that's what we're doing here. So we'll just wait. Probably can't see it on here because it's really, really small highlighting. All right, I'm missing some chats. Oh, she's driving me nuts, and she's is nuts antifreeze. Oh wait, hold on. Let me go back up. All right, I can't even get on my work computer online for work from home. I can't even get on my work online work from home. Lease is up in April, and I will be looking for a new place to live with a probably less nutty roommate. Is your sister driving you nuts? I got a base boss, 2 bases. I got a base my boss, 2 bases, and I sign up for the collector's box of Reaper's DT RPG thing. Oh, is that the Kickstarter for Dungeon Dwellers? Also, she's driving me nuts. Like, wants me to pay half the electric bill, but refuses to give me or give access to the bill because it is her personal info. Like, lady, I know all your personal info. I'm gonna take this same color. Oh, I need a smaller brush because we're doing the feet. And this time I'm gonna stay towards the front of the feet. Still doing the toes. Try to be as careful as you can here. And I will do a little bit of the top back here, but it slopes down here, so I'm not going to go back there. We're going to call it a break in the action. A little bit there, a little bit back there. Okay, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Find the right angle to do the foot. Staying in the top of the foot. And then just doing a little bit back here. Light might filter into there. Who knows? Okay. Give them a little bit lighter around the nose area. Remember, our lighting is going to be pretty much in here, so anywhere that you see in here should be kind of lit. I know his tail isn't going to be lit, but we just pretend when somebody turns it that the light's going to hit that part of it, so we do light up a little bit of that, or else your miniature is just going to look good from one angle, and we don't want that. You got to pick a few different angles for your miniature to look good at. So if they look at it from the front, that's great, we want that. If they look at it from the side, that's great, we want that. If they look at it from here, we still want to get that to look a little decent. Base Boss 2 was their third printed 3D printed base inserts. Oh, nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, I saw that they had a Kickstarter going where they had they made some good bank, and they're offering extra miniatures. And I don't think anything else gets highlighted. Oops. I'm doing a little bit in here. Not much. We'll say that this gets lit up just a little bit. Alright. However, here's where... Ooh. Must have had something on my hand. Here's where you can put a little bit of light source right there on the cut. See, with the light coming this way, you can make it look a little more 3D. I don't know if I like the dig on that. I might not do that. All right. I'm going to go back in with my thinner brush. I want to put a little bit more darker pink in some areas that may have gotten covered up. And hopefully you did this much cleaner than I did. But as you lighten up around these dark areas, they end up becoming darker. That's why it didn't look too dark when we started, but as they dry and as you lighten around, they end up getting darker. And we'll get into the toes. And I'm going to put a little bit more deep red down. Not a lot of deep red, just enough to make it darker. You want it dark because I want to get inside these toes a little bit more. Because they're close together, they're going to be darker by nature. See? So we'll do the same thing here. Hopefully this stays on camera a little bit more. You don't have something in your way. Okay. And I'm going to do the tops of the ears here to give that third color. You got the highlight color on the outside of the ear, the middle color on the inside of the ear, and right on the top, we're going to give this nice darker color, this darker pink. That gives me my three colors. It makes it look a little bit more 3D. Bone 6 is still open though. The Pledge Manager, I like to get the Briar something and the Egyptian boxes. I was getting the Phoenix. I like the Phoenix. I had done that a while ago. I'm actually looking at the Phoenix folk. All right. So I'm going to take some ivory. I'm moving to the hands at the moment just to give the tail a chance to kind of dry out. So I'm going to take some of this ivory and some of the gray that we were using before, and I'm really going to pop that gray before my ivory. So this is kind of like the marrying color, right? It's, you have your bright gray, your ivory, and then it's mixed. So that's kind of what I want to do here. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did before, and that is I'm just going to kind of hit certain areas here. I kind of want to keep as much of that shade as I can. So maybe I just kind of hit this hand here, hit this thumb right here. It's not my final highlight, but like I'm not going to do the back side of the hand, right? We're going to leave that kind of in the shade, but you do want to have some good lighting. So like right here, and then we'll save the ivory for just kind of like the knuckles and the front of the fingers. Maybe if they turn it this way, they get to see some of the finger, right? So you see like that finger in the back? Maybe only do a small section of that, keeping it very dark in the back. If they turn it this way, this is all in the light. This is all in the light. So miniature painting is all about if someone turns it like this, right? If somebody turns it like this, somebody turns it like that, look at it this way. I mean, we get so bogged down in lighting sources that we don't think about the viewer when they pick this up to look at it. You want it to look good from all angles. So you just have to find the angle that you want. But you also got to have like those dark areas in there in order to enhance your bright areas. So what could be a shade in one area, the top area might be your highlight in a bottom area. So we look at it this way, you get to see the hands there. Look at it this way, you get to see the hands there. Maybe this is not as pronounced as we want it to be. Somebody looks at it this way. Maybe we want to have a little bit like here. And if they look at it this way, that's too bad because that's all underneath, so we're not going to do that. All right. Feel like I missed some chats, maybe not. All right. So like when I said that thing about the cylinder, it also holds true for this, right? So we have this highlighted, but we're doing fur on this stuff. So like if you were to highlight the surface back here, you would edge highlight it and all that stuff, you know, without doing fur. You do the same thing, but you're going to do it as fur textures. So over here, I may want to take this light color, and again, now we're just going to do a little bit of fur because can't do all the fur in one shot, so I'm just going to do it here. But if I'm looking at it this way, let me put it on camera. If I'm looking at it this way, if you were to highlight over here because of the light in the top of the head and back here, you're going to do that, but you're going to do it in the way of fur. So instead of hardlining it, you're just going to kind of hit certain areas and just make your little highlights. And then on top of the head, so I'll turn them upside down here and just gonna kind of hit I'm not going to do the whole head, but you want to do it so that you're getting a little bit of highlight there. I don't even know if you can see the highlight. And do the same thing here. Again, there's no texture on here for me to follow, so I'm just making this up as I go. And it's just these little flicks. And this will help me define where my ivory goes eventually. So see how that lightens that up? What's going on for y'all? I saw wedding earlier. Oh, I was saying that I won't be at ReaperCon next year because my niece is having a wedding ceremony in Chicago or Illinois. It might be Chicago. So I won't be there next year, but I'll probably be there the year after. So you can start to see that you can pull out some highlights just by adding in where you would normally put an edge highlight. I'm just making little hairs. And it kind of provides a little bit of texture. And because fur is organic, you don't have to worry too much if it is out of place. Alright, we'll find a smooth surface so I can show you how I was doing the hair before. I'm just trying to get some extra texture into this area. Alright, because I have the light gray. And we want to build it up with our hands. Oh yeah, and you were going to a different con. I'm going to Adepticon in March. And because there's a couple of my friends over here, they were gonna go, so we decided it was easier to carpool it instead of flying, so I get to save money on a plane ticket, and we're just gonna carpool it down. And you know, far from sister to viability discourage random visits, but close enough if needed. All right, let's get back to this pink. So my pink is starting to discolor here, so we'll just mix that up a bit. There we go. And we'll just add a little bit more ivory into that mixture. Not much, just that much. That'll do plenty for it. Again, if you're layering highlights, you want to be as small as possible. And then we're just going to kind of do the same thing we did before, following that Following that line that all cylinders have. Because this is a curved cylinder, that's what the tail is, that's what we're going to follow. And I'm not just making a line, I'm actually trying to keep it nice and flat. We're not going to make it shine, but we want to have a little bit of highlights and shades because it does darken up a little bit on the creases. And then once we glaze everything down, it'll kind of all blend in together. But we need that light sketch, kind of. I'm gonna just get this, there we go. There we go, so got that. And we'll do the same thing over here. Just find a spot that you want to send a line. That way, if they turn it this way, they get to see the same thing. Because if you look at it this way, you don't even see the tail. Right? Nope, I'm not going to do down there. Just going to do this because this juts out just a little bit more. Okay? We'll do the front of the feet this time, where the toes are. There's a nice knuckle that slopes down. Oops. I should have used a different brush. That was on me. Always use the brush that will match the area that you're painting. Alright. I'll have to go in and just fix that up a bit. Here, I'm just going to do like in the front of the nose here. Right on the top. See, because once I put it on the top, look at that shade that goes underneath. See, that's what you want. You want that shade is going to pop this brightness. And because it's a little cockeyed, I will do this. Now, this is a sphere, so you're in a circle motion. And we'll do this here. Okay. All right. What time we got here? 10:30. All right. So I have to mix up a lot of gray for the furs. So instead of doing that right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is fix this toe that's going to bother me. So I'm just going to grab some of this. And get that toe back in there. There we go. Get a little bit of this deep red. And get a little bit deeper in there. There we go. Excellent. I gotta keep this on camera. Maybe my camera's shifted. Let's see. Yeah, my camera shifted. I should be right here. Alright. He's not looking too bad. He's looking about the same as when we started, except now he's got some brighter hands and a brighter tail. Before I get farther into the tail, however. I want to actually get into some of these armbands. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to go straight up. I'm not going to go straight up yellow ochre. But what I am going to do is I want to get some dark areas in here. So I'm going to start with the burnt sienna. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of the yellow ochre to that. And a little bit of the ivory. So it's a 3-for-1. So I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna, yellow ochre, ivory. Make a nice little fleshy tone. And this is just going to act as like my shades in the bandages. Make them look like old weathered bandages. We're going to go up with yellow ochre and ivory. But I want this to be the initial color. So here we have this nice dirty, and this will get darker as my bandages get brighter. So they'll be like kind of soiled bandages. We don't want to go pure white and we don't want to go pure ivory. We do want to keep as much of the tattered yellow, I don't know how you want to say it, disgusting. Now we could even add a little bit of green if we wanted to make it look disgusting. But what's going to happen is this will look darker. I might add a little bit of green to this. This looks a little too light. Actually, you know what? No. I'm going to keep it the way we got it. He has another bandage on his leg that maybe I'll add some green to. Make that a little bit darker. Again, always hold the miniature in a way that you can paint more effectively. That's why you see me turn this miniature over and over and over. But if you watch my brush strokes, if I'm paying attention, my brush strokes will not change. I'll always paint towards me or to the right. Okay. So now he's got a little armband. So we'll let that dry. Right here on his leg, he has a nice bandage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of this green. So I don't want to add green to this one because I still need to use that one. So I'll just add it over, and we'll add it right here. So there's my green. There's my burnt sienna, yellow ochre, ivory. And look at how it changes that color just by adding a little bit of green. It makes it a different color altogether, but because all these colors are on the miniature, it just looks good. Skin does catch light. Yes, it does. It's the same calculation all family makes. Distance versus visibility. Some people like next door. Others, you know, why can't I keep up with chat? Across the country. Yep. Skin does catch light. It does. Pus filled. Maybe dried blood. Yes. Or diseased. Right? Look at how diseased this looks just by adding that green in. See? Totally two different colors. But because all of these colors are somewhere in this miniature, it just seems to work. Now to get in there, the problem is that he's on a base. So I'm not going to be able to get to the bottom of that tail, and I'm not going to be able to get to that bandage. And there's no way I want to start messing around with that. So once I pull him off the base, I will touch all of that stuff up. But right now I can only paint what I can see. So I will continue to do that. Now, when you print this miniature out, if you've either printed it or you're looking to print it, it doesn't have a base with it. So I had to stick them on a base. So that's why I'm having a hard time getting into certain places. And you may not be. First up, I got 2 bottles of each Pro Acrylic Coal Black. Nice, nice. And Bold Titanium White, even nicer, for the Zenithal dry brush. As well as alternate lids for the bottles and the tweezers. That's awesome. The other color I really, really enjoy is mahogany. But you can't go wrong with Bold Titanium White. I think it's the best white on the market right now. For miniature painting, I should say. Maybe dried blood, yes. I could probably do that with the deep red. I could probably add a little bit of this deep red into this color and get a little bit of extra dried blood in there. Probably would have worked better if I just blotted it on afterward. Just remember, blood dries brown. Yep. It certainly does. Okay, what I'm going to do is add a little bit of yellow ochre to this original mixture. With a little bit of ivory. And I'm going to just go and do the individual bands really quick. Very carefully. I want to leave as much of that dark lining as I can in there. So we need this and we need this. There we go. So this just gets me the bands that I need. The other color was just a little highlight or shadowing color so that I don't have to black line that stuff in there. Just being a little careful because I'm just trying to stay on the top of these bandages. So I don't know if you can actually see the lines in there, but hopefully you can. Okay. Now he's got a band on his hand, bracelet. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to add, I'll just add white or yellow to this, or yellow ochre to this color with some white. I'll bring it back a little bit of the green. And we'll do the same thing on these bandages here. We'll just do the tops and keep that dark line in the middle. Remember, bandages, they go in like a diagonal. Oops. All right, well, I know how to line, so I'll have to fix that little issue that I made. But the problem is that the tip of this brush. All right. Well, we'll fix that up after. All right. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this ivory and mix this color in. You don't want it to go too bright, but you want it to go a little bit brighter so that you can do some nice highlighting. So if I look at it this way, right, you could kind of see where you need to put the highlight. So that's where I'm going to go. Okay, so there's the highlight there. If they look at it here, they'll probably get some highlight right here. They'll probably get some highlight right here and right here. And if they look at it from behind, they might get some highlight back there, but I'm not going to do any highlight from this angle because not only is this angle kind of really shaded, but it's also pointing downward. So I just want the places that kind of stick out the most. So if they look at it from behind, they get a little bit of light from behind. Right there. So that's where they get the light. That's where they get the light. That's where they get the light. And then the bottom is just going to be all nice and dark down there. And I would do the same thing down here, but we're gonna wait on that. There is one thing that's driving me nuts. I want to get his nose back on. So we're just gonna take a little dollop of the black. Paint his nose back on. Because it looks like it's a big patch of hair on his nose, and it's only above his nose that he has the patch. So we're going to do this. There we go. Now he has a nose. See, he looks much better with a nose, doesn't he? All right. Fur. I got 13 minutes to show fur. I think we're gonna call this as much color as we're gonna put in right now. There's a lot of stuff I have to still do. I have to go and edge highlight all of the metal that I didn't do when we left. I have this rope to do. Remember the last episode I showed you how to do the rope. So I have to do all that. What I do want to do is take this ivory though and get his hands to be ivory. So we're going to go straight up ivory. And I'm just going to kind of do where I think most of the light is going to hit. So like it's going to hit most of that front. It's going to hit the side here. It's going to hit the front of this. And then it looks like it's going to hit the tops of this hand here. And it looks like it's going to hit right there as well. Okay. And then if I look over here, this will get hit. This will get hit. Remember, this isn't really dynamic lighting. I'm just rotating it to see where people want to look at it to get the best angle. If I was doing this for real, a lot of this probably would stay shaded. But see, I kind of like that, and then back here. So we're just taking some of this ivory. Probably right there on that part of the hand, this part of the finger, and this part of the finger. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing on the other hand, and then we'll get into the fur. Like I said, this is going to be a tabletop piece, but I'm trying to do it in a way that no matter how they look at it on the table, they're going to get the full effect. I don't want to get rid of all of my shading. Okay. So that's eventually where the rat is going to go. So I can still take some of this ivory and just make like these little tiny hairs. Just little flecks of hair where I think the highlight will go. And the one thing about fur or hair, you can always have that little stray that catches some sort of light. Like, it doesn't have to be as exact. Like, there can be this like one light hair that just kind of like boom is like right there, or in the that just catches the light every so and as you keep doing this, eventually he'll become a little bit whiter or ivorier. Trying not to make large hairs. I still want to have the short hair. But he'll eventually get brighter and brighter as I go. All right. How do I do the hair? All right. So the trick to fur or hair, if you're painting it on a surface, I don't know why I'm moving that. That needs to stay on camera. Okay. We wanna be able. We have to have. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna grab some bottle caps here because I think it needs to be. Oh, let's see. Need another bottle cap. Where's my bottle caps here? All right, so we're gonna go with 4 different levels. And you want a nice thin paint, something that you can draw with to make your little tiny furs. And you also want a nice thin brush. So you want a liner. So you don't want something that you can't draw a line with. So I'm going to use this brush here. See that liner? I'm going to use that brush. So what I'm going to do is, you want thin paint, so I'm going to go with 2 drops of water in each one of these, and then I'm going to use a little medium in there. So a drop of medium. So, all right, that's a little bit more than a drop. Okay. Each one gets 2 blacks. Nope, I shouldn't say that. You need 4 blacks in one, then 3, then 2, then 1. Okay. And with the ivory, because that's the color we're building up with, we're gonna go backwards. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So each paint has 4 drops in it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh, each drop has 5 drops in it. So 4. Okay. Now you have ivory on one side and you have black on the other side if you need it. Each one of these will get mixed. So let's mix all that up. This is because I didn't paint. This is because I didn't wash out any of my wells. So there's the dark gray. This one has 3 blacks, 2 whites. So this will be a little bit lighter than what we have. Okay. Now you might have these colors already, I don't know. This one is 3 whites, 2 blacks, so this one will be even a little bit lighter. And the final one has 4 ivories and 1 black, so it'll even be lighter than what we have there. Now these are great kind of warm grays because they got the ivory in it, but we're going to warm them up just a little bit more. Because now I've rinsed out the back of my brush each time I did this, so that you have these colors here, and you can even go with more ivory afterward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take a little bit of yellow. So it's not as much as a drop, but I'm just going to kind of mix this yellow in here. This will even warm it up more. You're not even going to see the yellow, but that's okay. I know it's in there. And I'm going to do that for each one of these. So rinse out the brush. Grab some yellow. See, not a lot. Mix it in there. It just warms it up more, because that's what eventually we want. Oh, too much. Okay, there you go. There. And each time I mix, I rinse out the brush. And I grab a little bit more yellow ochre, I should say. See? If it doesn't look warm enough, then you can always warm it back up by adding a little bit more yellow. Okay. There's my 3 colors. They all have the same 3 colors, black, ivory, and yellow in it. It's just in different levels or different stages. I'm gonna grab my little liner. And you kind of start with your middle tone here. So I'm just gonna start with this one right here. Leave those there. This is for more definition when I need more definition. And these 2 colors here will build up the fur. So here's my flat surface, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy right here and make a nice point. And you're just going to start making little short hairs. All, you know, you don't have to worry too much about where these go. Oops. You just don't want to do that. You don't want the big hairs. So all I'm doing is and the shorter the better, but this one here, it doesn't matter how long these are, because this is kind of like your intermediate color. This is to kind of get everything kind of broken up. Fur, hair, organic, randomness is your friend. Okay. We'll let that dry a little bit. And it's just a back and forth take. It's just back and forth. So here you can start to see this is all starting to get broken up. So there's higher parts here that we're going to probably want to hit with our paint, right? This isn't a glaze and it isn't a wash. It's a thin paint that you want to be able to just kind of flick around. And so now, because the fur is sculpted to come backward, that's the direction I'm going to go in. And so I'm just going to make little short hairs on the bumps now. So it's just kind of, oops. Make sure you have a point. And it's just kind of flicking it around the top areas here. I wonder, did I already do this? I must have already did this. Doesn't look like I did it back here. I might actually already did those. All right, we'll take this lighter gray, do the same thing. Staying on the upper areas, so I could see that the sculpt has a little area here, has a little area right here. Right here. It's just little tiny areas. Again, this was all flat surfaces, and we're just kind of giving it its own little texture. So back here, Looks like I can get some little hairs back here. Make it a little look matted. You just kind of have to go in different directions. Don't do it stripey. And each time you go lighter, it should go smaller, right? All right. Once it starts gumming up, we'll go to our darker color. I probably didn't make enough of these shades, but at least you kind of get an idea of what I'll be doing off stream to get my fur. Now I'm going to go in with the darker color, and this I'm going to just kind of use it to make some separations. So like there's some dark areas here. It's still going to be fur, so you don't want to go super thick with it, but you want to get it sort of like where the shadows are. So that big fat line that we made over here, we could separate that out now. And the more you do this, nobody realizes that it was just a flat area. So back here, if there's not enough definition, you can just kind of make your own definition. Different layers of colors will give you sort of that furry texture. So if you have something that has a lot of flat surface and you want to give it some fur, okay. Now what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of ivory. Gonna add a little bit of this gray to it, because I don't want to go super ivory now, but I do want to go a little bit lighter. And I just want to be a little controlled with it wherever I go here. So there's like this little edge right there. Back here. Tops of his shoulders, right? Because you would highlight the tops of the shoulders normally. Around the head here. And if you made too many black hairs, you can always kind of cover them up with this. You just want to make sure that you're kind of going in the same direction as the sculpt hair goes. And now that I have that ivory in there, I can add more ivory and go even brighter. I think I need to add a little bit of yellow to kind of match this right here. I may not be as warm as I thought I was. So you don't always need texture to paint something. It makes it nice if you do, but we can make our own texture. Let's add a little bit of yellow to that color. Oh my goodness. What are you doing? Way too much yellow. There we go. Let's see if this works. I try to blend it into that head. Oh, that's where that dark will come in. I think that looks a little bit better. Oops. Oh boy. All right, this is how I know it's the time of the stream where I'm getting a little rambunctious, making some errors. Might be half chewed off ear, but I'm gonna put hair on it because I think that would be kind of cool. There we go. All right. All right, I think the next thing I'm gonna do is probably give him some eyes. So, first thing we do, everything's going black. So I think that'll be the last thing we do tonight. So there's this nice little black eye right here. Now I could keep it black, but I think it'd be more fun is if this guy had some color in his eye. So we're actually going to give him some color. Okay. Before we give him color though, I'm going to go over here to my medium light gray and give him an eyelid. And we'll do the same thing over here. This guy a nice eyelid so I can see the eye. Maybe I could see the eye. All right. Okay, once you get a nice clear eye socket, okay, looking good. That is what the blue is for. Since we're doing nice ivory rat, I figured nice blue eyes. And we'll do a nice, get some white in those eyes. So the first thing I'm going to do is do this regular blue, and then we're going to add some white in. So it looks like there's this little iris or this black pupil sort of on the bottom. So that's kind of where I'm going to go. So I'm just going to stay around the pupil and not so the black of the iris of the eye is in the front. So it looks like there's this little divot for that black. Okay. Get things out of my way here so I can reach my blue and white. So we're gonna add white to this blue, not ivory, because I don't want to change the tint of the blue. And I'm going to do around the blue again, where that want to keep it some of the blue, but right around that pupil is where I'm putting this lighter blue. Same thing over here. Whoa, that was disconcerting. Okay. And we'll do a little more white. Really bring out that blue. Almost like an ice eye. I'm gonna go right on the top, leaving the bottom. Although I think I should have went on the bottom now that I think about it. I'll do the bottom a little lighter, but not as light as the top. Nope. That didn't work out the way I thought it would. Alright. Now he just looks like a maniac. I'm gonna get some blue. I'm gonna get some blue back up there. Because iris is the light part is on the bottom, right? If I remember correctly from my classes. So all right. Now I'm going to take some of this black and I'm going to re-outline everything that I just messed up, because today is not eye day apparently. Today is liner day, just not eye day. And then with a spot of white, a tiny dot in the eye. Tiny dot in the eye for the light reflection. There we go. He's got some eyes now. He's got some armbands. I can go in with this ivory for the armbands and give it a little bit more of a, this might be too stark. Again, because we added some ivory to this, you're going in little tinier spots than you would normally go. Alright. I think that's a good take on this so far. One thing I did want to do, and I didn't do it, but I will show you so you can take part, and that is when I take this deeper red, I'm going to take this deep red, pure deep red, we're going to thin that down a little bit. Not to a glaze or a wash consistency, but you want it to be sort of a thin paint. Just go in and very delicately make some of these creases darker, and you want to be sort of in the middle when you do it. Oops, that wasn't very thin. So I'm just going in and just getting as very deep, because when we glaze it, we want those to be pretty seeable. Again, it's not supposed to look too much like cuts. This one is right here. It won't make that look like a cut. but you just want a little bit of darkness in all of these finer areas in between the toes. All right. I'll have to fix this mess up here. I think this is just this color. I mean, I could probably sit here and do this all day long. I don't know if you guys want to watch this all day long. Just trying to get this to look a little bit less you know what? Maybe it's this color I need. Let's try this color. Yeah, that's what I need. It's just too stark over here. All right, that looks a lot better. It's just a matter of playing and knowing kind of where certain fur has to line up. All right. We'll call that good for today. All right, it's 11:30. Got it. Let's turn the music up. Come back out here. And I just want to say, hey, everybody, thank you so much for stopping in tonight, and hopefully you were painting along. Whether you were painting a rat miniature or just doing something on your own or just relaxing, it's always a pleasure to have everybody in here just kind of hanging out. Thanks for all the chat. We're going to continue on with this, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday will be the last paint along we do. So I promise I will do my homework, and I will edge all of the metal, I will finish the rope, and I will do more of the hair so that we can get into doing a little bit more finer detail stuff on the rat. But this has been an incredible piece to work on, and if you want this piece, if you want the STL, go over to Kawna Minis on my mini factory. And if you don't have a 3D printer but you still want this giant rat, you can always go to my Discord and go into Thursday Night Paint Along. There is a link to where you can actually buy this particular model. Somebody does print out Kawna Minis, so you can always purchase it there, or find somebody that has a 3D printer and let them know where the STL is. So with all of that said, next Tuesday we'll be back to the Pirate Captain. Let me just show off the Pirate Captain if you haven't been with us. This is the Pirate Captain that I've been working on. We are going to work more on her on Tuesday. Maybe the sword. I'm still... I think I might just go gold. I don't know yet. For maybe I'll try a little non-metallic metal for the sword. Not sure just yet. But this is Captain Connie, which if you look over, excuse me, if you look over here in Rhode Island is Captain Con. So if you have a chance to going to Rhode Island in February 2nd to the 4th, to join us at Captain Con, you can get your limited edition Captain Connie from there. They're only selling it at the con. They're not shipping all over the place. So we'll be working on her next Tuesday, and then the last Thursday of the month we're back to Mr. Rat. So I will do my homework to get him looking a lot better. I may have to take him off the base so I can finish doing other parts of him. So, and then also, let me come back here. Oh, thank you so much for putting the Discord thing in there, but Ken, I really appreciate it. And you're welcome for the stream anytime. Tuesdays and Thursdays is my time to be here. So next Thursday will be my last stream for 2023, ladies and gentlemen. I am taking December off, and we're coming back in 2024 sometime in January, but my days may change, so please be on the lookout for that. Check my schedule down below. I will update that before I come back on the stream, or check the Discord. I may make an announcement of when I'm starting up. Now, I'm not streaming normally in December. That doesn't mean I won't do a dual stream with people here and there, and you'll always find me on Discord and Instagram, so make sure you're following me on those places. Thank you so much for stopping in. Happy holiday weekend if that's something that you celebrate here in the United States, and if you don't, have a happy Thursday. You can find your favorite streamer on Thursday. You don't have to be suckered to come over here. We will be back Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and whatever it is across the world. I think it's probably like 12 p.m. across the world. We will see you guys. No, 9 p.m. here. That would probably be 9 a.m. across the world. So now we have to go find somebody to raid. I don't have anything set up here. Who's got somebody for me to raid? Let's look here. We're looking for somebody to raid. We've got, let's see. All right. How about Kaylee Larson? Oh, wait, what do we got here? Nope. Thought it was something. How about Kelly Larson? Everybody like Kelly Larson? Unless somebody has somebody new for me, I could always use new follows. I don't see anybody on that. Sleep Tea is getting started. Really? Where is he? Just chatting. It's Tuesday. Recognizing office. Reorganizing the office. Do you guys want to see somebody reorganize their office, or do you want to see some art being done? How about we go to Kaylee Larson? Steve T's on. He's reorganizing his office. Crasher 247 is on. He's painting some Warhammer. I don't know. Let's see. Late night tonight. Just gonna play with some BattleBit. Okay. I've got everybody else is playing games. Board games. Darth Rosie is a 40K Christmas kickoff. I don't know. Darth Rosie's on. If you like sculpting, you got Mecha Miniatures. Given I need to reorganize my office, yeah, I know. This was organized at one point, and then that's probably what I'll spend my December doing. Yeah, let's just go over to Kaylee Larson. Those of you that know Steve T, fantastic streamer, fantastic artist, and a fantastic entertainer. So if you don't like what you see over at Kaylee, you can always go to Steve T. But either one's gonna do keep you up, because I think they're highly caffeinated. How does one organize one's mini stuff? This is always the question. You have to put it in box. You have to put it in drawers, and you have to find the commonality of each miniature. These are the ones with swords, or these are all my heads, or these are all the ones that I'll never paint this year. I don't know, something like that. I have now more cables than I really want right now. All right, let's do that really fast. Hold on. So I always do this the long way because this is the way I know. Stream, raid, and Kaylee. Because I need to ask Kaylee about her air compressor or her air brushing. I got to start working on that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going over to see Kaylee Larson. Please give her a follow. Give her 5 minutes if you like what you see. And I know you will, because if you're here and you like this stuff, you're definitely going to like Kaylee's. And she is a ball of fun. And yeah. I don't know. I'm just going to apologize now because I have no idea what I'm walking into. So let me just get on her channel, get on her page, make sure I'm not getting into a commercial. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in tonight, and we'll see you next Tuesday for Captain Connie. Have a good night.
Oh no! Delton, welcome in. How are you? Can we get a shout out for Delton, please? What were you doing on stream today? Hi, hi, hi! Oh, Bookend Kitties. That emote is amazing. More giant rat paint along. Nice. Gotta love a good ratty paint along. My poor rats just got evicted from my office room the other day. Ah, fair. We are just working more on these Death Guard. The goal is I want this bunch done by this week, but I'm not too sure because my wrist and knuckles have been acting up, which is weird. The joys of getting older is apparently your joints just wake up one day and decide to revolt. Oh, okay, yeah, question time, question time. And I guess all my mods are gone, so I'll give you your shout out. What's the question? You don't have to do this. Usually just so that way I don't miss someone if chat is going like crazy. You say I can take pictures of it and send it to you, Jeltip. I'll be honest, I don't really know. So, my monthly client, before he was a monthly client, he bought it for me a year. Yes, it has a tank. A year or 2 years ago, and replaced my old tankless compressor because the PSI got stuck. And so, yeah, it's a tank compressor. I just not sure the company. I would have to look and see if I can find something or take pictures of the compressor, and maybe it'll have like a name. I'm trying to not think about what I have to do for work tomorrow, but I should go to bed. Well, hopefully work won't be too bad, Bookend, and sleep's always important. I am working on some Death Guard.